take a slow breath in and let it go, gently, without effort. There is nothing you need to do right now, nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to understand. You don't have to follow every word. You don't have to remember what comes next. You don't even have to stay awake. This is not a lesson. This is not a message. This is simply a place to rest your attention and allow the day to fade. If your thoughts wander, that's perfectly fine. If your mind drifts, let it drift. You can listen loosely, like listening to rain in another room. Tonight is not asking anything from you. The world you moved through earlier today is already growing distant. The sounds, the conversations, the responsibilities, they are loosening their grip. Imagine them dimming like lights in a building at night, one by one, floor by floor. Outside, the darkness has settled in, not an empty darkness, but a soft one, a darkness that holds rather than hides. There is a quiet quality to this moment, even if the world around you is not completely silent. There is a deeper stillness beneath it, a stillness that doesn't demand silence, only softness. You might notice the gentle weight of your body, the way the surface beneath you supports you without effort. You don't need to adjust anything. You are already exactly where you need to be. The night stretches ahead, unhurried. There is no schedule here, no deadline waiting in the dark, just a long, open night with plenty of room for rest. As the minutes pass, time begins to feel less sharp, less structured. Moments blend into one another, the way waves do in the ocean after sunset. This is the space where stories like to appear. Not stories meant to teach, not stories meant to convince. Just old stories, very old, so old that their beginnings are unclear. So old that no one remembers exactly who first told them. They have no author's name attached, no date, no single place of origin. They've simply been carried forward, from voice to voice, from firelight to firelight, from one quiet night to another. You don't need to believe them. You don't need to doubt them. Belief is not required here. Neither is skepticism. These stories exist somewhere between waking and dreaming, between thought and feeling. They don't insist. They don't argue. They just move slowly, like shadows on a wall or clouds crossing a moonlit sky. If a part of your mind tries to analyze them, you can let that part rest too. There will be nothing to solve, nothing to figure out. These words are meant to pass over you, not stay with you, like a breeze that doesn't ask permission, like the tide that comes in quietly, long before anyone notices it has arrived. You may already feel a subtle heaviness forming, a pleasant one, the kind that comes when muscles soften and effort dissolves. Your breathing may slow without instruction. Your thoughts may stretch out with more space between them. That's just the night doing its work. Long before clocks existed, long before written language, humans gathered in the dark like this. They listened, not because they needed information, but because listening made the darkness feel gentle. Stories were a way to move together into sleep, a shared drifting. Even now, something ancient recognizes this rhythm, something older than logic. It knows that night is not for answers. Night is for release. So you can let go of the day completely. You won't lose anything by doing so. Tomorrow can wait. For now, there is only this moment, this voice, this slow unfolding of sound. Somewhere ahead, without announcement, a story will begin. It will not arrive with a clear beginning. You may not even notice when it starts. One image will simply follow another. One thought will dissolve into the next. And as that happens, you can drift further inward and deeper into the quiet, deeper into the night. Nothing will ask you to stay alert. Nothing will ask you to remember. You are free to rest. And as the darkness continues to settle, as the night opens wider, the first of those very old stories is already finding its way toward you. Slowly, softly, without needing to be announced at all, the road stretches quietly beneath the fading light. There is no sign to announce where it leads, no marker to say how far it goes. Only the soft curve of earth ahead and the slow dimming of the sky above. A traveler has been moving along this road since morning, perhaps longer. Step after step, hour after hour. The kind of walking that doesn't require thought anymore. Feet finding their way without instruction. Breath settling into its own rhythm. The traveler does not hurry, but neither does he stop. Not until now. The light has changed, not suddenly, just enough to be noticed. Shadows stretch longer, edges soften. The world begins to feel less defined, as if it's gently letting go of sharp outlines. There is no destination in sight, no village lights in the distance, no doorway waiting to be reached before nightfall. And yet, there is no urgency. The traveler slows. Then, without ceremony, comes to a stop. Not because he has arrived, not because he has decided anything. He simply sits. Right there, beside the road. The ground is cool beneath him, solid, reliable. It does not ask for explanation. The road continues on without protest. It does not pull him forward. It does not accuse him of stopping. The sky deepens into darker shades, blues giving way to something quieter. The traveler does not look at the time. There is no time to check. The day has already loosened its grip. Around him, the sounds of movement fade. No rushing, no demands, only the soft settling of evening. He does not reach for food, does not search for shelter. There is nothing missing in this moment. His body understands something before his mind does. that it is allowed to rest, allowed to pause without earning it. The traveler leans back slightly, placing his hands on the earth beside him. He feels the steady presence of the ground, unmoving, patient, as if it has been waiting for him to notice. The road does not disappear. It remains where it is. It will still be there later. For now, there is no need to follow it. The traveler's breathing deepens on its own. Longer breaths, softer releases, the kind that happen when effort quietly steps aside. The darkness thickens gently, not pressing in, just settling. Stars begin to appear one by one, without announcement. No one is watching them arrive, and yet they arrive anyway. The traveler does not count them, does not name them. He lets his gaze rest wherever it wants to, sometimes on the sky, sometimes nowhere in particular. Thoughts drift through his mind, then drift away. No story needs to be completed. No plan needs to be formed. This stopping was never part of the plan, and yet it feels right, as if the road itself suggested it, without words. There is a deep relief in not moving, not because movement was wrong, but because stillness has finally been invited in. The traveler notices the quiet weight of his own presence, the simple fact of being here, not ahead, not behind, just here. The night air cools his skin slightly, a reminder of boundaries, of edges returning softly. He adjusts his posture, not to get comfortable, but to let gravity do its work. There is nothing to hold up anymore. Somewhere far away, an animal calls once. Then again, the sound does not mean anything. It doesn't need to. It passes through the air and fades. The traveler's eyes grow heavy. Not suddenly, gradually, like curtains being drawn by unseen hands. He does not fight it. There is no reason to. This place beside the road is enough for now. The road can wait. Morning can wait. Even the idea of destination can wait. The traveler has given himself permission to stop. Permission to be unfinished. The night accepts this without question. The darkness deepens, wrapping the scene in softness. Breath continues, slow, even. The traveler is no longer listening for what comes next. And somewhere within this stillness, as the road fades gently into the background, another quiet image begins to form. Without urgency, without effort. As the night carries him onward, not by walking, but by rest. The stillness deepens, and within it, something begins to move. Not forward, not away, just moving. There is a river here. No one knows its name. No map has bothered to give it one. It flows anyway. The water slides over stone, around bends, through shadows. It does not hurry. It does not pause to explain itself. The river does not ask where it began. It does not wonder where it will end. It simply continues, moment by moment, folding one movement into the next. Beside this river stands an old man. He has been there for a long time. How long is impossible to say. Time behaves differently near water like this. The old man does not pace. He does not sit. He stands, as if standing were the most natural thing in the world. His robe hangs loosely, caught now and then by a small breath of air. He watches the river without focusing on any single point, not following one ripple, not tracking one reflection, just allowing the movement to pass through his gaze. This is Laozi. But his name does not matter here. He does not introduce himself. He does not announce wisdom. He has no students gathered nearby, no scrolls unrolled at his feet. He is not teaching. He is simply present. The river continues to move, water over water, moment over moment. Light touches the surface, then breaks apart. The same reflection never stays, not even for a breath. Laozi does not comment on this. He does not say that the river is like life. He does not say that the water teaches anything. He does not point. His hands rest quietly at his sides. If a thought arises, it is carried away before it can form words. The river has no opinion about the banks that guide it. No resentment toward the stones that slow it down. It meets what it meets, and then it moves on. The sound of water is constant, yet never the same. A low, continuous murmur, soft enough to invite forgetting. Listening to it, the mind loosens. There is nothing sharp here, nothing demanding. The old man's breathing blends with the sound of the river. In, out. No effort to match the rhythm. It happens on its own. The river widens slightly, then narrows again. It does not resist its shape. It does not cling to it either. Water does not hold memory the way minds do. Each moment arrives clean. Laozi remains still. If someone were watching him, they might expect him to speak. But he does not. There is no lesson prepared, no conclusion forming. The river does not need explanation, and neither does he. A leaf drifts past, turning slowly as it goes. The old man does not follow it with his eyes. Another leaf comes, then another. They pass without being counted. The water accepts them all, then releases them. Nothing is kept. The river has been doing this long before anyone noticed. It will continue long after. Laozi knows this, not as a thought, but as a quiet familiarity. His presence beside the river is not an act of observation. It is an act of alignment, standing where things pass without needing to pass with them. The air grows cooler. Evening leans in. The surface of the river darkens, becoming more mirror than motion. Stars begin to scatter across it, then break apart again. The reflection cannot hold them. Nothing here is meant to be held. The old man does not close his eyes. He does not open them wider. He remains as he is. Water moves. Water moves. Water moves. The repetition is soothing, not because it repeats, but because it does not care that it does. The river does not try to be meaningful. And so it is. If there were words spoken here, they would only get in the way. So none are offered. The sound of water continues, layer upon layer, washing the edges of thought smooth. Gradually, even the idea of watching dissolves. There is no watcher, no river, only movement, only softness, only the slow passing that asks nothing in return. Laozi stands until standing no longer feels like something he is doing. The river flows until flowing is no longer noticed. And somewhere within this gentle, endless motion, another image begins to surface, as quietly as water rounding a stone, leading onward, without direction, without instruction, into the next unfolding of the night. The sound of water fades, not because it stops, but because it no longer needs to be heard. Movement becomes softer, edges blur, and somewhere in this quiet, a dream begins to take shape. There is a man lying down. Or perhaps he is no longer lying down. It is difficult to say. His body feels light, lighter than before. Breath comes and goes without effort, as if it belongs to the night now, not to him. This is Zhuangzi. Or maybe this is not Zhuangzi anymore. Sleep has already opened its door, and he has already stepped through. In this dream there is no weight, no name, no history following behind. There is only a gentle floating sensation, as if the air itself were holding him, or as if he were holding the air. A softness spreads through everything. Nothing presses down. Nothing pulls back. And then, without warning, he is no longer a man. There is no moment of transformation. No sound, no announcement. He is simply lighter. Wings move where arms once were. Not flapping, not trying, just moving. The motion feels familiar, even though it has never been learned. He drifts. He turns. The air welcomes him completely. There is no ground to worry about, no direction to choose. Up and down feel the same. Forward and backward lose their meaning. He is a butterfly. Or perhaps there is only the experience of being light. Colors appear, soft and slow, as if painted with water rather than ink. A petal passes nearby, then another. Nothing collides. Nothing rushes. Time stretches, then thins, then dissolves. There is no question forming here. No curiosity that needs answering. There is only drifting. The butterfly does not think. I am a butterfly. There is no label required. There is no memory of being human. no awareness of having slept. The idea of waking has not appeared. The wings move because they move. The air holds because it holds. Light touches everything gently, then slides away. The butterfly rests briefly on something soft. A leaf, a breath of green. It does not matter. Rest and movement blend together. There is no sense of ownership here, no sense of control. Everything happens, and that is enough. Somewhere far away, a thought tries to form, but it dissolves before it has shape. There is no need to ask who is dreaming. There is no need to ask what is real. Those questions belong to another place. Here, everything is allowed to be uncertain. The butterfly lifts again without effort. The dream continues without needing to be continued. If there is a body lying somewhere, it is not remembered. If there is a name, it is not called. Only this softness remains. The edges of the dream grow wider, then thinner. Images repeat gently. Wings, air, light, again and again. Not as repetition, but as reassurance. Nothing sharp enters, nothing interrupts. Even the sense of self feels optional. At some point, it is no longer clear whether Zhuangzi is dreaming of a butterfly, or a butterfly is dreaming of Zhuangzi. The distinction does not matter. There is no effort to decide. The dream does not require clarity. It simply flows, like breath, like water, like night. The butterfly drifts closer to sleep within sleep. Movement slows. Wings feel more like air than motion. Everything becomes lighter still, until lightness itself begins to fade. Not into darkness, into softness. The dream thins out, like mist dissolving at dawn. Though dawn is not here yet, there is no waking, only deeper rest. The last image does not end. It simply becomes quieter. And in this quiet, the night continues its gentle work, carrying the listener further inward, where dreams no longer need images, and sleep no longer needs stories. The dream thins out until it no longer needs images. What remains is a sense of presence, quiet, unshaped. And within this quiet, there is an old monk. He is sitting, not because he is meditating, not because he is practicing anything. He is simply sitting. There is no temple around him, no bells, no incense, only open space. The ground beneath him is firm, but he does not notice it. His back is straight, but not held. Years ago, perhaps, he learned how to sit like this, or perhaps the body learned on its own. Time has softened the reason. The monk is old, not in a way that asks for attention, just old enough to have stopped counting. He is not chanting. His lips are still. No sacred words move through the air. There is no teaching happening here. Instead, There is wind, moves through the space gently, without direction. It touches the monk's robe, then leaves. It moves the leaves nearby, then moves on. The leaves respond, not all at once, not in rhythm. A soft sound rises, then falls away. The monk does not listen as an action. Listening happens without effort. Breath comes in, breath goes out. It does not wait for instruction. The wind passes again. It brushes past the monk's cheek, then disappears. Nothing follows it. The monk does not name the wind. He does not wonder where it comes from. There is no question forming. The leaves move again. Some turn, some stay still. No pattern needs to be found. The monk's breath and the wind begin to feel like the same movement. In, out, passing. The moment stretches, not forward, not backward, just open. The monk's eyes may be open or closed. It makes no difference. Light filters through branches above, shifting slowly. Shadows change shape, then soften. Nothing holds still long enough to be held. The monk does not correct his posture. He does not check his breath. There is nothing to improve. Wind, leaves, breath, again and again. The repetition is gentle, like rocking. Thoughts, if they appear, are thin. They do not gather weight. They pass like the wind passes. The monk does not push them away. He does not follow them. They leave on their own. A longer breath moves through his body, then a shorter one. The body adjusts itself. No one is directing it. The wind shifts. A leaf falls. It lands somewhere out of sight. The sound is barely there. The monk does not look. Everything important is already happening. Time loosens further. Moments stop lining up. There is no before, no after. Just this. Wind moves, breath moves, leaves respond. Silence fills the spaces between. The monk is not waiting for enlightenment. He is not waiting for sleep. Waiting is no longer necessary. The body is heavy and light, supported. The sense of someone sitting here becomes softer. Edges blur. Listening happens without a listener. Breathing happens without a breather. Wind happens without a reason. The monk remains, but not as a figure, more as a still point within movement. The leaves slow, the wind thins, or perhaps awareness simply drifts inward. Breath becomes quieter. Long pauses appear between inhale and exhale. Nothing rushes to fill them. The monk's presence is barely there now. Just warmth. Just weight. Just the steady support of the earth. Wind passes one last time, so softly it might be imagined. Leaves answer faintly. Then even that fades. No ending arrives. No conclusion is needed. The night continues, holding everything gently as rest deepens, and the listener drifts beyond effort, beyond images, into sleep, itself. The night has settled completely now, not as something new, but as something already familiar. And within this settled darkness, there is movement again, slow, unhurried. A man walks through the mountains. He is a woodcutter, not because it matters who he is, but because his hands remember the weight of wood, the shape of an axe, the rhythm of long days spent outdoors. He has been walking since morning, upward paths, downward paths. The forest has folded around him gently. At some point, the trail he followed is no longer clear. The stones look the same. The trees repeat themselves. The familiar markers are gone. He realizes, without drama, that he is lost. There is no sudden fear, no sharp intake of breath, just a quiet noticing. The woodcutter stops. He listens, not for directions, not for rescue, only for what is here. The forest is calm. Leaves rest in layers, branches hold still. The air is cool, settling against his skin. Light is fading, not all at once, but gradually, as if someone were lowering it with care. The woodcutter does not rush. There is nowhere urgent to go. Being lost does not feel like danger. It feels like a pause that arrived on its own. He looks around, not to search, but to take in the shapes. Tree trunks darken, edges soften. The path does not announce itself again, and that is fine. After a while, the woodcutter sits down, not heavily, not with relief, just enough to let the body stop moving. The ground accepts him, cool, stable. He places his tools beside him. They do not need to be held anymore. His hands rest in his lap, empty. The forest breathes. In, out. The sound is faint but steady. As the sky darkens further, the mountains lose their sharpness. They become silhouettes. The woodcutter does not try to remember which way he came from. Memory feels unnecessary. The thought of finding the way back does not press itself forward. There will be time for that. Or perhaps there will not. Either way, this moment remains unchanged. Darkness gathers, not as a threat, but as a cover. The kind that allows things to rest unseen. The woodcutter's breathing slows. Longer pauses appear between breaths. Nothing fills them. The forest does not ask him to decide anything, no. Animal calls out urgently. No wind demands attention. Only the quiet presence of being exactly where he is. Lost, but not wrong. The idea of direction loosens. Forward and backward lose their meaning. There is only sitting, only night, only the soft sense of having stopped trying. The woodcutter leans slightly against a tree. Its bark is rough, but steady. He does not name it. He lets its presence be enough. The darkness deepens further. Stars may be overhead, but they are not needed. The forest holds its shape without light. The woodcutter's eyes close, or perhaps they were already closed. It is difficult to tell now. Thoughts arrive less often. When they do, they are thin and they pass. Being lost no longer feels like a condition. It feels like release. Release from knowing. Release from planning. The mountain does not mind. The forest does not correct him. Night continues, wide and patient. The woodcutter's body grows heavier, supported from all sides. Nothing needs to be carried. Nothing needs to be remembered. Somewhere far away, the idea of morning exists. But it does not approach. It waits. For now, the darkness remains complete, and within it, the woodcutter rests. Not sleeping yet. Not awake either. Just resting inside the not knowing. Inside the quiet permission to let go. The forest stays. The night stays. And the sense of being lost softens until it is no longer felt at all. The forest no longer feels separate. Night has fully arrived, and with it, a silence so complete it barely feels like silence at all. It feels like space. Within this space, there is a presence, not moving, not waiting, simply here. The Buddha sits beneath the open sky. There is no gathering, no circle of listeners, no firelight, only darkness, wide and gentle. He is not teaching. No words form, no message prepares itself. This night asks for nothing. The body sits easily, balanced, unforced. The ground supports him without comment. Breath enters, breath leaves. No attention is placed on it. It happens. The darkness does not press inward, it opens outward. Stars may be overhead, but they do not announce themselves. If clouds pass, they pass unnoticed. There is no need to look. The Buddha does not observe the breath. He does not follow it. Breathing is simply happening where the body is. In, out. Between the breaths, there is space, not empty, just quiet. The sense of time has thinned. Moments do not line up. There is no earlier, no later. Only this soft continuity without edges. The Buddha does not reflect on past nights. He does not anticipate morning. Thought does not arrive to ask questions. If a sensation appears, it dissolves on its own. If a sound arises, it fades before it needs meaning. An insect moves somewhere in the dark. The sound is brief. It does not disturb anything. The breath continues, long, then shorter, then long again. The body adjusts without being directed. Nothing needs to be corrected. The darkness holds the shape of everything without revealing it. Trees remain trees. The earth remains earth. Names are unnecessary. There is no sense of doing, no effort to remain still. Stillness is already present. The Buddha's presence is not something separate from the night around him. It blends. Edges soften further. The idea of a body sitting here grows faint. Breathing continues without ownership. There is no teacher here, no student, no teaching. Only the quiet rhythm of life moving through life. The night deepens, though it has nowhere to go. Darkness becomes even softer. The breath becomes quieter. Pauses lengthen between inhale and exhale. Nothing rushes to fill them. Awareness drifts without direction. There is nothing to focus on, nothing to release. Release has already happened. The Buddha does not guide the mind. He does not guide anything. Guidance is unnecessary when nothing is being sought. The forest holds its breath, or perhaps there is no difference anymore. Breath, darkness, they feel the same. The boundary between inside and outside has thinned. The sense of here and there loosens. There is only presence, so gentle it is almost not felt. If sleep comes, it comes. If it does not, that is also fine. There is no preference. The body is deeply at rest. Muscles soften without instruction. The breath becomes a whisper, then softer still. Thought does not return. Memory does not stir. The night remains open and patient. Nothing needs to end. Nothing needs to begin. The Buddha sits, not as a figure, but as stillness itself. Darkness continues. Breathing continues. And somewhere within this quiet continuity, the listener no longer needs to listen, no longer needs to follow, no longer needs to be aware, as rest deepens completely, and the night carries everything into silence, into sleep, without effort, without words. Nothing is moving forward now. There is no need to go on. The night has no direction, and it does not ask for one. What once felt like separate moments no longer stand apart. They begin to soften, to overlap, to lose their edges. Somewhere a road still exists. Not a road that leads anywhere, just the memory of ground stretching quietly ahead. It does not pull. It does not wait. It simply remains, unconcerned with footsteps. Nearby, water continues to move, not as a river with a name, but as motion itself, flowing without asking where it began or where it will end. The sound is faint now, almost imagined, like listening through a wall or through sleep. A sense of lightness passes through, the way it does in dreams, not a dream that needs images, just the feeling of drifting without weight. Nothing is being decided here. The air moves softly, without pattern. It touches leaves, touches skin, touches nothing at all. Breath rises, breath falls, so quietly it hardly feels separate from the darkness around it. The road, the water, the drifting, they do not stay distinct. they blend. One becomes the other. The idea of a path loosens until there is only presence without direction. Movement slows, then slows again. Even slowing becomes unnecessary. The night holds everything without effort. Nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be released. Release has already happened, so gently it was barely noticed. There is no listener now, only sound becoming quieter, only breath becoming softer. The sense of here thins. The sense of now widens, then fades. The air does not move toward anything. It simply settles. The darkness does not close in. It opens out. Everything that once felt like a story returns to what it always was: a rhythm, a pause, a space between movements. Breath enters, breath leaves. The pause stays, longer than before. Nothing fills it. There is no ending arriving, no signal to stop, only the gradual quieting of everything that was once noticed. Sound fades into silence, but silence does not replace it. Silence has always been here. Awareness becomes thin, like mist, then thinner. The idea of staying awake does not appear. The idea of falling asleep does not appear either. Both feel unnecessary. The body rests without instruction. The mind does not follow. It settles where it is, then settles again. The road is no longer a road. The water is no longer water. The dream is no longer a dream. The air is no longer air. They have all returned to the same quiet field. Nothing stands apart. Nothing asks to be named. The voice continues, but only just, soft enough to blend with breath, soft enough to disappear between words. Pauses lengthen, words become fewer, meaning dissolves. There is no reason to hold on. There is no reason to let go. Both ideas fade. The night remains, wide, unmoving, gentle, and within it, everything settles, slower and softer, until even settling is no longer felt, and what remains is simply rest, without edge, without thought, without effort, like a final breath that does not need to be followed. And then nothing more needs to happen.